Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to completely unlock the modern web. We're talking about APIs and JSON, literally the master keys for developers today. Whether you're building your very first web app or you're just looking to level up your automation skills, understanding these two concepts, that's exactly what takes you from just browsing the internet to actually building it. Let's get into it.
Think about your daily routine for a second. Ever wonder how your phone knows the exact weather forecast for your location the absolute second you wake up? Or how you can click just one button to log in with Google on a totally unrelated website? Or even how you see real-time crypto prices updating every single second? Well, it's not magic. An API is working behind the scenes every single time. They're the invisible threads connecting all modern software. And today, you're going to learn exactly how to pull those threads yourself.
So here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the Internet's invisible backbone. Then, JSON, the universal language. Third, we'll explore a treasure trove of APIs. Fourth, making your very first call. And finally, troubleshooting and best practices.
Okay, let's dive right into part 1, the Internet's invisible backbone.
So, API stands for Application Programming Interface. Simply put, it's a set of rules that lets two completely different software systems talk to each other. The classic metaphor here is honestly perfect. Imagine you're sitting at a restaurant. You, the client, want to order food from the kitchen, the server. But, you can't just walk back into the kitchen and start cooking. You need a waiter. Well, the API is that waiter. It takes your request from the menu, runs it back to the kitchen, and brings your exact order right back to your table.
Now, the most common type of API you're going to encounter is a REST API. And a REST API request has a very specific anatomy made up of 4 essential parts. First up is the endpoint. This is the exact URL you're sending your request to. Think of it like a specific address on the web. Second, the HTTP method. Like, are you asking for data? That's a GET request. Are you creating something brand new? That's a POST. Updating? You'd use PUT or patch. Deleting? Delete. Simple enough, right? Third, we have headers. These carry metadata and often act as your secret authentication keys. And finally, the body. This holds the actual data payload, the cargo you're sending over to the server.
Moving right along to section 2, JSON, the universal language.
So, what language is our waiter actually speaking to the kitchen? That would be JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Think of it as the universal translator of the internet. Now, it was originally developed for JavaScript back in the early 2000s, but today, it's used in practically every programming language. It is a super lightweight, human-readable format for storing and transmitting data. And the absolute beauty of JSON is that it relies on an incredibly simple structure of key-value pairs. It's so compact, which makes it absolutely perfect for fast, efficient internet communication.
And honestly, this comparison brilliantly illustrates the difference between where we started and where we are now. Over on the left, we've got XML, specifically a SOAP envelope. Notice how unbelievably clunky and verbose that is? You've got opening tags, closing tags, namespace declarations, literally all of that just to send the number 12,345. It's a lot. Then look at the right. There's JSON. Just a simple curly brace, the key ID in quotes, and the value 12,345. That's it. It is incredibly clean. Browsers parse it instantly. It's really no wonder JSON completely took over the modern web API landscape.
All right, section 3, a treasure trove of APIs.
Now, whether you're just starting out or you're building a massive real-world app, there is an API ready for you right now, totally for free. For instance, beginners can safely practice fetching and deleting data with JSON placeholder, which is amazing because it has 0 rate limits. Gamers out there, you can pull complex relational stats using the Pokey API. Or say you want to build a live app pulling real-time forecasts for anywhere on Earth, you can use OpenWeather's really generous daily limits.
But what if you're ready for enterprise scale? Well, Stripe handles massive global payments processing absolutely seamlessly. Meanwhile, GitHub has an API that lets you programmatically control your developer workflows, repositories, and pull requests. And if you ever need geographic data for over 250 countries, we're talking currencies, languages, borders, REST countries provides all of that instantly with absolutely 0 authentication needed. Pretty cool, right?
But hey, APIs aren't just for heavy data lifting. They're also for creativity and, honestly, just having fun. The NASA API gives you access to stunning, high-def space imagery, which is perfect for educational side projects. Need a random picture of a corgi as a placeholder for your site? The Dog.co API has you covered. Or you can hit the Joke API. Though, fair warning, developer humor is definitely a bit of an acquired taste.
Let's get to the really good stuff. Section 4,
making your first call.
Listen, every single expert developer out there started with this exact same 6-step process. Step 1, get your API key from the provider's developer dashboard. Step 2, and please, I'm begging you, do not skip this. Spend 10 minutes reading the documentation. Look at the endpoints and the required headers. Step 3, make a simple GET request just to fetch some data. Step 4, level up by sending a POST request to create a new resource, and remember to format your body as JSON. Step 5, parse that JSON response body to make sure the fields are exactly what you expected. And finally, Step 6, validate your response codes. A status of 200 means OK, while a 201 means something was successfully created. You've got this. Now to actually execute these steps, you're going to need the right tools. Postman is highly recommended for beginners because it gives you this beautiful visual interface to save your requests and easily toggle your headers and JSON bodies. If you're someone who loves the terminal, curl is your classic command line workhorse. But if you're looking towards serious QA and testing, TIS Sigma is an amazing codeless, AI-powered automation platform. It actually lets you build and run REST API tests without writing a single line of script. It's a real game changer.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Troubleshooting and Best Practices.
The crucial point here is understanding what the server is actually screaming back at you when things go wrong, because they will go wrong. If you see a 401 unauthorized, your API key is missing, invalid, or maybe it expired. A 404 not found, that usually just means you have a typo in your endpoint URL. Getting a 429, that means too many requests. You've hit the API's rate limit, so you need to slow down. And a 500 internal server error, hey, take a deep breath. That is a failure on their servers, not yours. You're completely off the hook for that one.
To wrap up, keep these best practices permanently tattooed on your developer brain. First, always read the docs first. Seriously. Second, never ever hard code or expose your API keys in your front-end code or public GitHub repositories. Always use environment variables instead. Third, when you're testing, don't just check for a 200 OK status code. You need to validate the actual response schema to ensure the data isn't just returning as null. And lastly, always test both positive scenarios, where everything goes right, and negative scenarios, like submitting invalid input, just to make sure the API fails gracefully.
So you now have the master key. You understand the invisible threads of REST, the universal language of JSON, and exactly how to call and test them. Now it's time to grab your API key and fire up your testing tool. The internet is no longer just a place you visit, it is a platform you can command. So what's it going to be? Will your first API call build the next unicorn startup, or just fetch a random picture of a dog? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy building.